I wish we had been recording 3 seconds sooner.
So you could get introduced to me properly.
Very in-depthly, actually. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our very first episode of Hate That For You. I said that weird. I said that weird.
You're quite
you.
enthusiastic.
Hate that for you. Yeah.
Hate that for you. It's because when we say it naturally, it doesn't sound weird, but when you're actually just saying it as a title, you're not being sarcastic and an asshole, so it sounds not natural.
Damn.
It's not its natural habitat, so it's a little odd. I get it.
Yeah, it's the hate that for you in captivity, raised in captivity.
Yeah, it's not in its wild natural habitat.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to our very first episode of Hate That For You. And my name is Nicole, not Nikki.
And I am Nikki, not Nicole. It's fun for us. We like doing that to people.
I don't think we've ever done that to anyone, though, actually, in real life.
Okay, but they didn't know that. You didn't have to, call me out.
Anyway, this is a podcast about two long-distance midlife millennials just figuring it out. I'm originally from the Kansas City area, but currently not living in Kansas City anymore. Very sad.
You lucky bitch.
Am I that? Am I?
Well, I am originally from Central Oklahoma, and I have made the far journey to northeastern Oklahoma. I've escaped very far. So here I am.
But you aren't still living in the hometown that you grew up in, so that is more than a lot of people can say.
That's a big win. It is a big win for me. No offense to everyone still living in my hometown.
No, you know what? I think it's actually it's something worth talking about. So if you are not originally from the Midwest, dear listener, especially if you're from like a smaller town or more rural community, it can be difficult to sort of break out of the mold that you're raised in, right? Like even in Kansas City, it has like a lot of like suburban neighborhoods within it. Just like San Francisco has neighborhoods, or Chicago has the different like New York has boroughs, Chicago has like neighborhoods, right? Like all those different like regions. And Kansas City is also like that, with all these like mini cities in that metro area. So yeah, you're probably like, if you're raised in Kansas City, you're probably just moving around that metro area. It's like a different neighborhood or like a different like sub city, but you're not really moving out of the metro area.
Yeah, I did not want to stay in my hometown. I think this is a very divisive topic. So some people really like their hometown, and I'm happy for you. I did not want to stay there. I did not want my child raised there. So this reminds me of one of my favorite Justified moments. And I just need you guys to know that I start binge watching a show and then I get tired of it and I move on. So this is probably going to be a thing that happens all the time. So he's talking to the main character of the show. Raylan is talking to a different police officer. And he's like, why are these people still here? And he's like, well, some people like it here, Raylan. And he's like, oh. And that's me when people are talking about staying in their hometown. I'm like, oh, okay. That is, in fact, an option that is available to you. Got it. I got it. So, but yeah, I went away to college and have not moved back. That's me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, no dogging to anyone that wants to stay in their hometown. Like, absolutely. If you're happy there, you feel fulfilled there, like you make your life there. A lot of people like stay because they're really close with their family and they want to stay, near that really like loving and supportive community. Absolutely. Like, do the thing that's right for you. But yeah, I think in both of our instances, like we, just wanted to like see what else is out there.
Yes.
And hopefully it was more positive. It was like a more positive move, with our kids in mind. Like, obviously we enjoy like the fruits of the positive move for ourselves as well, but we want our kids to like really experience that too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, mine was more of a job-oriented situation. I am a clinical scientist, and there's not a ton of clinical scientist jobs in my small town population. I don't know, 2,000. So that was my main goal when I left, is that I needed to get a job, and I'm not interested in commuting super far, so that was the thing. In the
Yeah.
Midwest, almost everybody I know commutes super far.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, it also
I
depends on a Midwest super far is like an hour or more every day to work,
mm,
or you know what I mean? But I know, like, in larger cities, maybe more people take the train and it's even further, so that's probably relative too, but, like, if I'm driving one way an hour, that's, like, very common in my hometown, is because like, my dad
mhm,
drives to Oklahoma City every day, and it's an hour, and I
yeah.
cannot do that. It would slowly kill me.
Mhm. I think the main difference though with city commuting versus Midwest commuting,
Mhm,
you are like driving on a highway for most of that commute
mhm.
or
70
like on a
miles per
road.
hour, yeah.
Yeah, like you're going like actual distance. Like you measure distance in actual like miles. Midwest.
It's yeah, well, because, like, time is you know what I mean? Like, I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh, it's about an hour away," but that is, like, 60 miles. I mean,
yeah, 60 miles.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, like the miles
yeah,
equals the minutes
yeah,
versus in California, in San Francisco, an hour on the train is 8, 10 miles, depending if you're in San Francisco. Um,
mhm,
if I wanted to take, so there is a bus, and I mean, it is the most amazing, like, I live on the most amazing line where it's like literally door to door from my home to the office that I used to work in. And they even have this thing called a rapid bus, right? So it like makes fewer stops, right? So with the expedited bus line, it's still like 38 minutes to go 5 miles in the city. So
yeah,
you absolutely are not, yeah.
when I came to visit you, I was like, "Wow, the city is actually not that big, like, distance-wise." I was like, "Oh, it's not actually large." So that was weird to me, but it's just there's just so many people. There's a lot of people there. But
Yeah.
also there's, like, this whole I think that I have, like, this false sense of size from living in Oklahoma, because everybody thinks of Oklahoma as, like, a very rural place. Um, but when I go to other states, I'm like, "Where are all the people?" Because, our 2 largest cities are Oklahoma City and Tulsa. In Oklahoma City, I'm not sure, let me Google how many people are there, but it's pretty big. Um, like, driving in it, the traffic has become kind of an issue, like, rush hour traffic in Oklahoma City is not my favorite thing that I've ever done. It's not like Dallas bad, but it's pretty bad. So there are 681,000 just in Oklahoma City, right? But if I do Oklahoma City, like, Metroplex, there's 1.5 million.
Oh, wow. The fact that you had to add the word
Yeah.
plex after metro, that,
I'm
I'm just like,
sorry.
wow, that's really big.
Yeah, because it just sprawls now. So so when I go to other states, like, I went to Anchorage, and I was, like, downtown, and I was like, "Oh, cool, where's the rest of it?" Or, like, Charleston. These things, like, growing up, like, these seemed like bigger cities, like, these seemed like big towns. Or even, like, Madison, Wisconsin, or one time I had to go to, like, a work trip to Topeka, Kansas,
Oh, I'm
and I
sorry.
left oh my god. I I
I am
left,
so sorry.
so early because I was expecting the same rush hour in Topeka, Kansas as I got in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and I got there an hour early to my conference. So, just so everybody knows, Oklahoma is probably, bigger and more populous than you think it is. So that I will say that. It it's probably more like Texas than you think it is. I'll say that.
So in my mind, Oklahoma is literally just like the northern
Yeah.
extension of Texas. Um,
Yeah. Don't
I
ever
mean,
say
yeah,
that to anybody else because I love you. So,
really? Does Oklahoma like really hate that?
yeah, people really hate Texas here. Like we will fight someone probably. Yeah, we
Oh
don't
my,
want to be. It's
I didn't know
crazy.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so great because Kansas also has a very similar hatred for the state of Missouri, which is directly to the east of us.
That's wild. Like
It,
Missouri seems so innocuous to me.
oh my God. Okay. Okay. So every time I bring this up, which I've been able to like bring this up quite a few times since I've moved to California because like people are like, "Oh, where are you from?" I'm in Kansas City, and they're like, "Oh, I thought Kansas City is Missouri," and I'm like, "Oh, well, let me give you a little history lesson because
Yeah.
my my college major was U.S. history, specifically the Civil War. It was like the main topic that
Mhm.
I studied, and so Missouri was supposed to be like the last slave state, right? To
Mhm.
stop Western expansion of slavery, a whole bunch of like really radical, um, anti-slavery abolitionists like moved to Kansas, specifically like Lawrence,
Mhm.
Kansas, which is where the University of Kansas is now. So people
Mhm.
from like Boston and where is that? There, hold on. Where is Yale at? Jersey. Is that Jersey? No, Connecticut.
Yale is New Haven, Connecticut. Yeah, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So a bunch of like abolitionists from Boston, Massachusetts, and New Haven, Connecticut, like moved to Lawrence to establish Kansas as a free state. And so Kansas's nickname is Free State. And so there's a lot of clashing. And that time period is really called like the Border Wars. And people from Missouri would come and sack Lawrence, Kansas. They raided it a few times. Like, just came into town, like shot up the buildings and like tried to kill people and whatever. And there's this local legend named John Brown who was a crazy man. He was absolutely crazy, but everyone in Lawrence loves him because he was like considered like a super radical liberal. And like,
Mhm.
so some of these I think they were called copperheads, like came over and like tried to sack his camp, right? And I think even killed like two of his sons. And so he was like, "Well, okay then." And so a few days later he goes and like kills a bunch of people at the camp that like came to like raid his camp. And so everyone's like, John Brown's
Yikes.
a terrible person because he killed all these people. But, of course, like he's like a legend in Lawrence for essentially like just risking his life. Like literally his children were killed. And I think they were like teens or early 20s, right? So they're not like children, but they're like,
Oh,
young men.
young. Yeah.
Like literally sacrificing his family for the cause of like anti-slavery. And so ever since then, there's been a very bitter rivalry between Kansas and Missouri,
Mhm.
um, where they just absolutely, like, especially the universities, absolutely just fucking hate each other. Like, just the most University of Missouri students can just fuck off. Like, I was in the marching band my freshman year, and like, they're just like throwing beer bottles, like glass bottles, into the marching band.
Holy
Like
shit.
so many, like half a dozen of the marching band had to go to the emergency room. And it's just like, yeah, I get it. You are all hyped up because you're at this like football game, but like what did the marching band do to you? Like, and they're like,
I'm sorry. This happened
oh,
at a football game?
yes. It was an away game, right? So it was
Who
like the Missouri
who's
students.
getting that heated about a University of Kansas football game? No offense.
Yeah. I mean, like, think about it. You're gonna win. Whoever you are. It doesn't matter who
Yeah.
you are. If you're playing University of Kansas football, you're gonna win. Right? Like that's
Yeah. That's
there's no
wild.
need. There's no need. Right? That's how
There's not.
insane it is. That's how crazy it is. Or like they would
Yeah.
come to like KU for games and just go through the parking lot and just start just bashing people's like side mirrors off. Like you don't like, and of course they get caught because they're just in the middle of a fucking parking lot just doing this.
I can't get over this. I cannot like okay, we have a very so I graduated from the University of Oklahoma, and we have a very world famous rivalry with the University of Texas, right? So we do pranks that are like, we paint "fuck Texas" on everything. We don't
Yep.
physically assault. I mean, have I dumped beer on some people while I'm out? Allegedly. But you can't prove that because I went to college before cell phone videos. But
Yeah,
like,
the good old days.
I that's crazy. I cannot get over that. Like,
Yeah, Missouri students are just
that's
so
crazy.
just fucking terrible. And of course, like KU students aren't, for the most part, they're pretty good. Are they assholes? Absolutely. But it's not illegal to be an asshole. You're not sending someone to the emergency room because you're like, hey, fuck you guys. Like,
Yeah, no, I can't. I mean, yeah, like we talk a lot of trash. Like, I can't. Throwing glass beer bottles is
mhm,
insane.
yeah,
Also, when I was in college, we had a small little dry campus incident. Well, but not at the Cotton Bowl because it's a neutral site, right? Where we
right.
play. Like, our rivalry is so heated, we had to play at a neutral site. Okay, that's why I can't believe this. Because the University of Texas is in Austin and we are in Norman, obviously. And then so we had to play in Dallas, and you can't just throw glass beer bottles at people.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm like, they're not even selling glass beer bottles in a stadium. So you had to like
yeah, like you
smuggle
had to
that
like
shit
bring
in.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But but then University of Mizzou is like their nickname or whatever. Like they left the Big 12, so we
Mhm.
haven't really had to play them. But I think that they did bring the rivalry back just because it is so historic, right? So I think they brought it back last year.
Mhm.
But our like next biggest rival is like Kansas State University, right? It's the other like flagship university in the state of Kansas. You know what the worst thing that we do to each other is? Like sometimes they come and put like purple dye in like the fountain
In the
that
fountains.
you
Yeah.
that you like enter when you like enter like the main campus, right? Like that they would like dump some like purple dye in the fountain, right? Like like
I
no
mean,
no
that's funny. That doesn't
yeah,
hurt anybody.
right. Right. And it's like
Yeah.
a haha, look, we got you. Not I'm gonna hope you die, you know?
One time somebody put Jello in the fountains, and that was a big deal because I guess that like fucks up the plumbing. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. That'd be rough. Very rough. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, generally I would say like the Midwest is like pretty chill.
Yeah, it's just silly pranks. It's not you go
Mhm.
to the hospital with brain damage pranks. My God, Mizzou, get your shit together.
Never have, never will.
Yeah. Thanks for taking us down that little history trip.
I can't wait.
Um,
I hope someone from Missouri is listening. And like honestly, to be fair to Missouri, so Kansas City
mhm,
does straddle the state lines. And the way that I usually describe it to people who've never been to Kansas City is that the
mhm,
suburbs sit on the Kansas side and the culture and history stuff sits on the Missouri side. So Arrowhead Stadium where the Chiefs play, Kauffman Stadium where the Royals play, those are on the Missouri side. The Jazz District, Power and Light, which is like the clubbing area, um, like the Monarch Historical Negro League Baseball Museum, like all of that stuff is on the Missouri side. Union Station, Missouri side, like all the fun stuff is on the Missouri side.
mhm.
Sprint Center, where you go to
Don't
like
worry,
go to
that's what I tell
concerts.
people too. If it's fun, it's on the Missouri side. That's what I say.
Oh, but if you want decent yard lots and good schools, like come to the Kansas side, I guess.
I didn't know about that stuff when I was hanging out in Kansas City.
Yeah, like the plaza, like everything, all the fun stuff is on the Missouri
Mhm.
side. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's fun, it's in Missouri.
Yeah, that's kind of
If
well, I'm
it's
like
responsible, it's probably in Kansas.
yeah, responsible or boring, right? I think those are like
Mm.
synonymous. I think even Kansas used to have like dry Sundays where like liquor stores couldn't be open on Sundays, and I think that was all the way up until like the 90s.
You're so funny. I don't think that you couldn't sell liquor on Sundays here until after I moved here. So it was like after, let's see, I've been here 5 years now. So after 2019.
What? Okay. All right. Do you have wine at your Trader Joe's?
Now, because it passed
Because
at the same time as the Sunday liquor law.
Kansas
Yeah.
still, you can't sell, like, if you want a Costco with wine and liquor, if you want Target with wine and liquor, Trader Joe's with wine, liquor, whatever, you have to go to the Missouri side. Like, it's still to stay like not allowed in
Mm-hmm.
Kansas. And
Well,
so,
honest to God, I think Costco is why they were willing to put that to a referendum, because you couldn't, like, Costco won't come in, I guess. Wait, do you have Costco in
oh
Kansas?
yeah, there's tons of Costco's in Kansas.
Oh.
Just being all sad and sober.
Well, we didn't get a Costco till after that referendum passed.
What the? How? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I am shocked. I am shocked, ma'am.
Yeah. So we couldn't buy anything except for beer in the grocery store. And our
Oh, 3-2
beer
beer.
was only 3.2. Yeah.
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 Oh my god. Oh my god. I hope that there's some listeners out there who are like, what is 3-2 beer? It is water. It's water.
Yeah, it doesn't taste good.
No, it doesn't taste
3.2
good.
alcohol by volume.
And
It does
I
not.
am the kind of person that turns bright red after like 2 sips of a Moscow Mule. And if I can drink a whole can of 3-2 beer and like zero effect, like I don't turn into like, what's a strawberry? No, because that's kind of like not a pretty
Tomato?
fruit. Yeah. I will turn
Oh,
into a tomato after,
pomegranate? I'm trying to think
a
of a pretty
pomegranate.
fruit.
There,
Pomegranate?
I mean, I think
pretty red fruit.
I think if I'm turning like super bright red, it's probably not going to be super attractive. Anyway,
It's not cute. My
it's
my
not a
friend
cute look.
Katie used to turn, like, the whites of her eyes would turn red. Yeah, because she was an Asian that could not tolerate alcohol either. And that's fine. That's a very common gene. But
Mhm.
you got to warn people, okay?
Oh yeah,
Because
don't worry about
I
that.
thought she had a hemorrhage.
No, like it's so funny because my college roommates were so used to it that we would be at a house party and like the people, the people would be like, "Oh my god, what's wrong with your friend?" And I'd be like passed out on the couch. They're like, "Did she get roofied? She didn't drink anything, like hardly anything." And my roommates would be like, "Just throw a jacket on her. She's fine. We'll take her home. Like we're keeping an eye on her. She's okay."
She's good. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. Just
Don't
put her on the
touch her. Like
couch.
also,
Sit on her. Like,
yeah,
I'm sitting on
yeah.
her. She's fine.
It's fine. She's fine. She's fine.
Oh my gosh. I think we're
Yeah.
so lucky to have rule follower kids.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, but even Sawyer he's not doing the things he's not going to do the things that you were doing in middle and high school, right? Or maybe just me. Was I the only bad kid in this conversation?
Okay, so for the record, I have 2 preteen children and they're twins. It's a boy and a girl. The girl takes after my personality and my son takes after my husband's personality. And let's just say that I love my husband. I don't know how his mom survived his college years. Like, how did she not? Well, I think it's because there were no cell phones really at that time. He's a little bit older than
that
me.
was a very effective. Yes, it was important.
Yeah, because some of these stories, and I'm just like, I have done things, right? Like I've done my fair share of like partying and like whatever, because it's the Midwest. Like, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna party.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm just like, wow, my son, I'm gonna have to keep, like college fund, wedding fund, bail fund. We'll just have to see what happens.
He's got some options open to him, probably.
But
choose your
if
own adventure.
Okay, yeah, choose your own adventure. But if he's truly anything like my husband, I think he will always be able to like escape those situations by like the skin of his teeth. Like he'll be able to like just charm his way out of it.
He is really cute, and his smile, like, with his lopsided.
I hope that works on police officers. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. What he's gonna do is he's just gonna call his sister, who's just gonna come and be like, "Well, officers, I think you should let my brother go because I'll take care of him. Don't worry."
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah, G's gonna get him out of so much trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. Officers are gonna take like one look at her and be like, "All right, you're the trustworthy one. I release him to your recognizance or whatever."
Yeah. Oh god.
Um,
I can't even be so I have she's about to turn 12. And she's in 6th grade. And she is crazy smart and a smartass. And I know every parent says that, but I'm not lying when I say she's also stunningly beautiful.
she is. She is.
It's a problem, and she knows it and uses it.
Yeah, she
So
should.
I am. Should she? I am not looking forward to this adventure. I'm not looking forward to it at all. So that's a thing, because that does work on in most situations. So
It does. So I will say that this is another case where your daughter also takes after her mother.
she
She's
does, yeah.
extremely smart. She's athletic. She's very driven. You say that she's a smartass, and maybe you feel that way because you're the receiving end of it. I think
Yeah,
she's hilarious.
you can be both. I can't even remember what she said, but I was like, "Don't laugh. Do not laugh because she cannot act like this to people."
Oh my god, I know, I
God.
know, I know. I mean, but yes. But you know what?
Mhm.
If that pretty privilege is um a tool in her tool belt and she uses it judiciously, I say go
Mhm.
for it. I say go for it. Because especially if she goes into like a STEM field, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Yes.
she's already like cut off at the ankles basically just for her gender. So she might as well use what she can to get to where she needs to be.
That's fair. Yeah. She also I raise her 99% solo. Her dad drops in and out when he feels like it. We can do a whole episode about that, I'm sure. So she is Latina. Her dad is from El Salvador. So she got his coloring. So that is another thing that can be difficult in our country. So yeah, we talk a lot about the ways that she has to interact with the world that might be different than the way that I did growing up,
Mhm.
white, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think that's, it's always something to keep in mind because and I think we might touch on this on one of our other episodes as well, but growing up in the Kansas City metro area, like I was the only like Asian kid in my entire elementary school. And, that really did color the way that I saw myself for a number of years until, I got to like high school, middle school. And then all of a sudden it was just like, oh, you know, just because you look different doesn't mean that like we hate you, which I'm like, oh, thanks now. Um, for the record, I don't think that anyone hated me, but it was just like, as children do, they're like, you're different, and we're going to point that out to you in case you didn't know, so that you're aware, and also so that you don't forget. We're going to keep pointing that out to you, right?
yeah, I think that that is not great. As a parent of a child who is, different, as you said. I mean, a little girl, she had an experience where, and I don't want to assign, I'm very big on not assigning motives to children because they're
Products of
just
their
exploring the
environment.
world around them, and they're also products of their environment, and they just say whatever shit comes into their head because they have not developed a social filter. And this happened several years ago, right? So, there it was just an incident where a little girl had told my daughter that, there she can't be, they were playing house, this is obviously a few years ago.
Yeah.
And, she can't be their grandma, like she's not white like them. And I was like,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Well, first of all, none of you
I have
guys
a white
can
grandma.
technically be right. So Brinley has a white grandma, actually.
Yeah. We're all out here with white
So
grandmas. That is,
actually,
yeah.
so, but and yeah, it just can get very sticky, especially when grown-ups don't handle that well. So we have a lot
Mhm.
of very nuanced conversations in our house about the way that kids talk to her, and then the way that other adults talk to her when they handle things like that. Because living here in Oklahoma, I grew up in a place that had a large indigenous population. So I feel like I wasn't as aware of it back then as I am now, but I'm actually really grateful for the exposure I got to Native culture, because I think it really prepared me for being sensitive and respectful to other people's culture as I got older. um, and I wish that, more adults would exercise that same judgment because in 2024, I do not understand how a child, or not a child, an adult after this incident told my child, well, I don't see color. So, like it shouldn't be ever be pointed out. And I
Well, yeah, I think
was,
we're in agreement that the statement of "I don't see color" is so problematic because like unless you are physically colorblind, right? Like unless you
Mhm.
literally could only see like sepia tones, but then you could even still see like tone, right? Anyway, it's just a bad phrasing because it's okay to be different. Like we aren't all carbon copies of the same,
Yeah.
whatever. It's okay to be different. But what's not okay is to make people feel bad for their
Hmm.
uniqueness.
Yeah. It just, I think that was her first real concrete situation where she had been made to feel bad about it.
Mhm.
And so it like really hit her hard. And then it just like kind of like devolved from there, because then that statement had been made and she was like, what does that even mean? Like, obviously I look different from everybody else. So like, is she trying to say that I'm supposed to look like them?
Mm.
She's pretending I don't look different? Like, what is and I was like, so I think these are the conversations they don't prepare you for parenthood. And
Mm-mm.
as just a small aside, I never am more resentful of I'm always looking for that village that everybody is always talking about when I'm having these impossible conversations that I'm navigating by myself. Like, oh, where's my village to tell me exactly how I'm supposed to explain to her that not all adults are wise?
Yeah,
Do you know what
right.
I mean? Like,
Right.
adults are actually just trying to figure this stuff out too, and some of them aren't good at it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so we have a lot of, well, some people feel this way, but here's how I think, and here is how we're going to navigate that in our house. So, I don't know, have you guys, because you live in a place with a larger Asian population now, so have they experienced anything like that?
So
Your kids?
actually, I I think because of my experience growing up, I have tended to ask them, you know, over the years, like a few times, like, does anyone treat you differently because, or like mentioned because you're Asian? And they look at me and they're like, well, why would anyone do that? And I'm like, wonderful.
Why
That's
would
great.
they? Why
Why
would they
would they?
do that? You're
Why
right.
would they
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah.
And it's because we live in in a much more like densely Asian populated area, which we didn't
Mhm.
have in Kansas City, right? Like, so all of the Asian people that like I interacted with in Kansas City were like people that we either were like really good family friends with or were my actual family, right? So like it wasn't like you
Mhm.
just see Asian strangers on the street.
Mhm.
We're here, there are so many Asian people. And there's a lot of like kids that are half Asian, half white as well, which is actually kind of a funny running joke. I think Ali Wong is like, you know, thank you to all my Asian girls that are here supporting me tonight, and like, thank you for bringing your white boyfriends.
That's hilarious.
And you
So
know, she's
funny.
not wrong. She's not wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot more like white Asian mixed kids in elementary schools in San Francisco these days. So I think they're feeling very
Shout out to the tech bros. I'm just kidding.
yeah, you guys, good job. Good for you. Good for you.
Keeping it real.
You're bagging it. You're bagging the good ladies. That's what I'm saying. The fine ladies. But yeah, luckily I think that we're in a place where they're not othered. Like there's a wide range of different cultures. In fact, when we first started at this elementary school, there was a lot of different families from like other countries, right? So Italy, France, Germany, a lot of like European countries, yeah. But like the exposure, I think, to additional cultures was just you can't buy that.
Humble brag.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely costs something. I mean, it's not free.
It's living in the highest cost of living city. Yeah, it
God,
feels
and I
your
feel
soul a little bit. You know, does anybody, maybe a kidney, maybe you could peddle it on the street.
You know, it's actually funny that you should mention that because the Facebook algorithm has been pushing this get paid, ladies, to surrogate your body out. And I'm like, why is this ad in my feed so frequently?
I think I'm too old for that now because
it's up to 40 something.
Oh my God. Maybe I should sign up. How much does that pay?
It said 61,000 plus.
Holy shit. I would do that. I don't care. I'll do it.
Yeah, I really considered it. I'm
not kidding. I didn't hate being pregnant. I threw up a lot, but damn. Whatever.
Well,
I'm not doing anything else. I mean, you had twins, so you maybe being pregnant wasn't your favorite thing because you had the twins, but I only had one. I only gained like 5 pounds.
What the fuck?
I threw up a lot. Did you miss that part?
Okay, that's fair. I gained so much weight. I gained so much weight that it was physically almost impossible for me to stand on my feet for longer than like 10 minutes because the weight of my own body was too much for my own feet to bear.
You had 2 babies in there.
2 babies that came out to be like less, so it's like 12-ish pounds of baby did not equal. I think
I gained 5 pounds and my baby was 7 pounds. And I waited tables until 3 days before. No, because I went into labor Friday, but I had waited tables until Wednesday.
No.
I am the definition of a bad bitch, you guys. Like, I am a bad bitch.
It's true. Because I just I would have just died. I would have just given up on life at that point if I had to like go wait a table at.
Again, you had twins. It's not the same.
Listen, I also was a server in college, and even if I wasn't pregnant, I would just give up and die. Like,
it's hilarious. Yeah,
I
actually didn't hate waiting
service
tables.
workers, people.
Yeah, you should be nice to them because I have, like, I'm not even a crier. I don't cry. I've had tables make me cry, like legit make me just bawl my eyes out. Yeah, you get $2.13 an hour in Oklahoma to wait tables plus tips.
Yep, that's what it was in Kansas too. So fun. So I wanted to circle back to the Costco thing. Yes, as if we work in a corporate office currently.
I love the corporate lingo. It's my favorite.
It's ingrained in me now. I can't not, but I don't
You're
want to.
Corporate girly.
You just know. I wish I was more. No, we'll talk about that another time. But about my love hate for corporate girly life. I mean, like, is that really like so hard to like understand? Like, you need to work to survive, but you obviously hate working. Right? Like,
I
I feel
think
like
that
that's a
that is
universal.
everybody, and if they don't, they have just brainwashed themselves. It's like
Mhm.
toxic happy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like toxic
Mm,
positivity. Like that's what it is. And
yeah,
we are not here for that energy. We
no.
have what is it? What kind of vibes? What is our vibe?
Okayest vibes.
We have the okayest vibes. Like we're not here. Don't send us your negative vibes, but we're also not here for your positive vibes. We are here for the
Not
vibes
the
that get us
toxic
through
ones.
this
Yeah.
the toxic. We don't want the negative vibes. I said that.
You know,
We
not the
do want the
toxic
toxic.
positive. No, we don't want the toxic we'll
No,
take positive vibes,
no,
but not the
yeah,
toxic positive ones.
no. We don't want toxic positivity. Like fuck that.
Yeah.
Like if you are feeling some feelings, you don't have to be happy about it. You don't have to be happy every single moment of every day. Like you know what that's called? Delusion. That is delulu, baby.
Mhm.
Don't do that.
It is. It is. Um, yes. But to go back to when we were talking about Costco earlier,
Costco.
a little article, and this is not a new article, but it popped up again for me the other day, and I was just like delighted. Once I am always delighted by the average Costco shopper article. Have you seen this article where Costco did a breakdown of its average shopper?
No, am I going to be horrified?
No, you're gonna understand. The average Costco shopper is an Asian woman between the ages of like 35 and 44 in like the Pacific Northwest with like a at least her bachelor's degree, um, and probably like has a family, and like the two most like purchased things are like Duracell batteries and Adidas clothing.
Nicole, the call is coming from inside the house.
Yes. I was like, you might as well just put my picture up
Just
there
at
with
me. Just
this.
at me.
Yeah. I mean, why write this article about me if you're not going to tag me in it?
Feels like they owe you some copyright dollar bills.
Yeah. I mean, you used my likeness, for God's sakes.
I mean, that's certainly not who I see at my Costco, if that helps you.
True, true, true. And I mean, like, I'm also not in the Pacific Northwest, and like, but I'm like Northern
You're
California, right?
very close.
Very close. It's
Yeah.
very close. Um, but yeah, they really got me on the Adidas gear because, oh, I also say Adidas weird now, by the way.
You do. I was like, what are you saying? Feels like the Tupperware guy.
Tupperware? What was that?
Say
I say
tub.
it because, which it made sense. It made sense. It's a tub that you put food in. I understand that. And in
Mhm.
fact, I think I might have slight dyslexia because when I imagine the word Tupperware in my head, it is two B's.
That's not
That's
how
not
dyslexia
dyslexia.
works.
No, but it's something. There's something wrong with my
It's
brain.
something. I mean, zero
Yeah,
doubts. You set that up for me. Thank you.
yeah. Like there's something in there. Something's not screwed in all the way there. Um, But yeah, they really got me on the Adidas stuff because and the reason I say Adidas weird now is because Sawyer loves that brand, right? Because he's like very like
Mhm.
sportsy and like sweatpants, hoodies. It's like very easy. He
Mhm.
just like loves all their
Did he
gear.
learn to say it in the UK?
I think he like learned to say, like when you like read a word and then
Mhm.
you like say it a certain way, but it's not necessarily how other people have like put the emphasis.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
And so that's just how we've all grown accustomed to saying Adidas now in our family. It's like one of those cute things that we're just never
Amazing.
gonna let go.
It's fine. I said swimsuit for a solid 10 years because that's how Brinley said it. And then one day she just started saying swimsuit, like she is a grown up now. And I'm like, oh, I guess we moved on from the swimsuits. And my heart's not broken. It's fine.
Yeah.
You didn't
Yeah.
ask me. You just moved on.
You just moved on without me.
So
And
whoever
I'm still
corrected her, you're dead to me. So just know I'll
well, she
find
might have
you
just read
eventually.
it. She might have just read it and just like knew.
Her little ADHD brain does not read books. She only does audiobooks.
She might have heard it.
She maybe did. She was actually listening to somebody for once that wasn't herself.
Yes. But yeah, the Costco Business Insider article got me pegged.
They got you.
Yeah, they got me. They got me.
They've been stocking their Adidas up for you.
Adidas.
I can't even say it like that because I'm like, what?
Yeah, like your mouth just won't even allow that combination of sounds. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, we're just gonna roll that until someone eventually corrects him, which then I'll go find them and beat them, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you start to develop a very long list of kids that you have beef with. I'm telling you, it's wild. I'm like, Brinley's like, can so and so come over? And I'm like, okay. And she's like, you have to be nice. And I'm like, I'm not mean to children. And she's like, actual nice, not you nice. And I'm like, okay, God.
Well, then I have to put that act on for everyone because it's either like
Okay,
me
well,
nice or like normal person nice.
yeah, then I can't play with you guys. So, like, go play the Switch or something.
Well, the kids don't want to play with us anyway, which is fine. It's fine.
Some of her friends do, and I'm not here for that. I don't want to play with kids whenever they're at my house. Is that I might be a bad parent for that, but I don't want
I
to play
don't
with
think so.
kids
I
when
think
they're
it
at my
depends.
house.
I think it depends. If it's
They're
like a
old.
board game, if it's like, you
Yeah,
know,
I'm here
you
for
want to go to
that.
like the park and like shoot hoops or whatever. I'm not going to shoot the hoops, but like my husband will. Some adult man is going to go shoot hoops with you. It's not going to be me.
You sounded so old. Right, we're shooting some hoops.
Listen, I might
Sorry.
have been too young to actually go watch White Men Can't Jump and Basketball Diaries, but I worked at Blockbuster, so I saw the titles on the shelf. Okay.
Blockbuster, you say?
Yes. 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 I worked at Blockbuster when I was in high school. And it turns out that I was actually some of the last like I was in like that last group of like 16-year-olds that they hired. I guess they like made some rule so that they weren't gonna hire children anymore, and I kind of like snuck in under the under the wire. So
Lucky
that was
you.
like one of my favorite jobs. You got like 5 movie rentals per week, and then you got to like rent things before they were released to the public, so that you could like make recommendations.
Oh,
Not a
that's
bad
a good
gig.
job for a teenager, actually.
Yeah, it's a great job, and like it's not hard, right? You're just
No.
like scanning videos
Movie.
and putting them back up on the shelf. It was great. It was absolutely great.
Nicole
But
recommends Blockbuster Video. Oh, wait.
well, even earlier today, my husband was because like I really don't actually watch that many movies now that I am unable to sit still for longer than 30 minutes. You can call it ADHD if you want, or like ADD. I think it's just the curse of being a mother. You just
Yeah. You
just
got other things that have to get done. I can't just sit and watch TV. What a luxury. Like,
what a
what do you mean?
luxury.
What do you just get to sit there and watch TV and do nothing else? Wild. It's wild.
I mean, I could do it, but not for very long.
8 other things are intruding on my brain that I should be doing instead.
Absolutely. And then actual like physical things, like the pets are like, I want something from you. Get me some food. Take me outside.
What do you mean? Not the dog and the cat leaning against me right now.
Currently, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think,
Okay,
it's like I think there's
No,
a
you
lot
go
of
ahead.
millennials in our generation that still don't feel like they're grown-ups yet. Like they feel like, the early 2000s was just like a couple years ago and not like 12 years ago.
Early 2000s were
That's
like
like 20 years
20
ago.
years ago.
That was like
Yeah.
20 years ago. Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're like, because I see a lot of TikToks where people are like, oh my God, me concealing my teen pregnancy, but then realize I am actually in my 30s. And I'm like, I feel every single second of my age.
Yeah,
I do not feel
legit.
like a baby. I feel like an
No.
old, crumpled,
Cranky,
cranky,
mhm,
tired,
haggard.
haggard lady.
I'm exhausted and I'm so grumpy. Like, I'm so grumpy. Like,
Yes.
I can't even imagine. Like, I get that where I'm like, "Oh, that was 20 years ago," but I'm also like, "Yeah, my knees are telling me it was 20 years ago."
Yes. Yes. I'm like
Like,
waking
we've
up in
had
the morning.
ice and now rain, and I, like,
Oh,
stand up after sitting, and my knees and hips are like, "Ew, stop."
yes.
Like
Yes. Yeah. Like
yeah.
I can tell pretty quickly when I've eaten like too much sodium that day. And I'm like, oh, I can feel it in my hands.
The gout, it's a comin'.
No, not the gout.
Amazing.
Oh my
Yeah, I mean,
God.
you can't just, like, eat all the shit that you just used to, like yeah, I got, like, a heartburn the other day just because I
Mm.
think that I can't even remember what I ate, but it was nothing, like, horrible, do you know what I mean? That I was
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, apparently this gives me heartburn now. What a fun experience." Hate
Mm.
that for you.
Yes. Or like a few years ago, I was having such extreme heartburn.
Mhm,
And I couldn't figure out like what was causing it. Like none of the antacids were working. And I had it for like 4 consecutive days before I was like so weak. I was like throwing up. It was like so bad. I was so weak because I
mhm,
couldn't sleep that I finally like dragged my ass to the urgent care. They were like, you need to go to the
mhm.
emergency room right now. And they were like, your gallbladder is so inflamed. And I was like, gallbladder? I'm like, I'm not old enough to have a gallbladder issue. Like, what?
This is a warning for our listeners. So,
It is a warning.
if you have taken hormonal-based birth control, so you have needed that, because I don't wanna say woman and be exclusionary. You might nee and you start having abdominal pain, and it might feel like heartburn, um, and you start having a lot of intestinal issues, you should make sure that it is not your gallbladder because one of the major causes of gallbladder failure is too much estrogen. So, pregnancy can also cause it.
Why did no one tell me that about the birth control? I feel the more I have like intentionally been like not learning about birth control because I've just been habitually on it for so many years of my adult life.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, that every time I find out like another like fact about it, then I'm just like, man.
Well, I mean, I think that they used to say I think there's, like, 3 Fs that can cause, gallbladder failure. It's like, being female, you know, lots of fatty foods, and I can't remember what the 3rd F is, and I was just like, "Oh, what a fun mnemonic you have there, doc. Thanks for sharing." So, but, like,
Well, I
yeah,
don't know what that
but
third F
definitely
is, but I assume that I
fuck
check
it,
all three
fuck it.
Fs. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you lost all your fucks when they removed your gallbladder. So it was a fuck maker.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
had to take mine because I had to get mine taken out because I took that birth control that was, like, basically all estrogen that they were prescribing to girls our age when they were in their teens for PMS symptoms, and I can't even remember what it was
Mm.
called, but it was, like, everybody was on it. So,
Oh my
just
God.
FYI.
Just FYI. I will say though that like had I known that by moving around, because like what happened to me was that one of the stones was lodged in the duct. If I had just moved around a little bit more, maybe I could have dislodged it. But I didn't because I was in so much pain. So I was just like laying as still as possible, which obviously was not helping it.
Sorry, I only partially remembered it. It's the 4 Fs. You're over it can these are the 4F canon is what it's called. You're 40,
Oh.
you're age over 40, you're female, you're fertile. That's the
Oh.
estrogen, right? Or you're fat,
Mhm.
obesity. I remembered fat, but
Okay,
I
but
thought it
what if
was
we
related to
change?
fatty food.
Oh. What if we change that last fat to PH so they have to change the mnemonic to 3 F's and a P? Because we are just
I mean, when I got mine
fat.
taken out, I was like 100 pounds lighter. So I don't think that that was related to my issue. It was the estrogen-based birth control. So, and also I've been
Yeah.
continuously on birth control my whole entire life, even when I got pregnant. So no worries here. I have an IUD now. So.
Like,
Yeah.
it was a responsible thing to do. And we were, I think, teen mom came out when we were like young adults. And so we're all like super scared of getting pregnant when we weren't supposed to be getting pregnant. That now we just have like, we're just like, fuck it. Well, don't tell us about all the dangers of being on birth control. We're just going to be habitually on birth control for basically the rest of our lives. Like,
yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But also, I super hate periods, and my IUD has let me not have a period. So I haven't had a period basically since I had Brinley.
Which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, but also it let me not realize that I was getting PCOS, and I didn't know because I never had a period because I had the IUD. So, pros and cons there, pros and cons. But again, no period.
No periods. I would also like to point out to our listeners that we're not 40. Like, I feel like some of the elder millennials are 40, and I do consider myself an elder millennial, but I'm not that elder yet.
No, not yet. It is
approaching
at a rate in which I'm not entirely comfortable with, but
correct.
What can you do?
Correct.
You can't stop time. But we got some years
Why
left.
hasn't anyone figured that out yet?
Because men haven't made it their problem yet. Like, it hasn't become a problem for men yet.
But you would think with all the midlife crises that have happened over the years.
Oh, that's true. It is actually a problem for men. If it stopped men's fertility the way it stopped women's fertility, they would have figured it out already.
We'll get there.
But women
maybe not in our lifetime.
In the past have actually been happy when they stopped being fertile. So we've been like, that's fine.
That is fine.
Speaking of men and them being a problem.
I'm intrigued.
I found an Am I the Asshole that I wanted to read to you and check your thoughts on it. We love these. Excited. We send them to each other all the time. Okay.
We do.
Am I the asshole for ignoring 40 plus calls from my boyfriend? Went out with a group for my boyfriend's birthday. On our way back to his truck, we found out it was towed. We walked into the store from the parking lot it was towed from. My boyfriend was heated and being rude to the employee, so his friend took him outside. I stayed talking to the employee for information to the towing company. He replied all the information would be in the parking lot. I walked out and got the company on the phone. Unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to pick up the vehicle until the next day. I looked around, and to my surprise, everyone had left.
You just left them there?
Upset, I was left alone in a place that isn't the safest. I walked to the nearest gas station to call an Uber. My boyfriend called me, but I was so upset. Everyone had left me. I decided not to answer. Am I the asshole?
So even her boyfriend left her?
Yeah, she was there all by herself after she was trying to sort out his car getting towed.
Okay. What? So it's not like because they're in a big group, they were like, oh, she just got in someone else's car. Like he knew that she was in getting information about his towed car and he left her there.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there an update? Like what happened?
There is not an update.
Okay. There's everyone except for this girl is the asshole because I don't care if your boyfriend is like, hey, let's leave. I would still be like, where's my friend? Like,
yeah. Oh, okay. Wait. OP, I found one. So somebody asked, was he drunk? How big was this group? When did he call you? So they said, yes, he was drinking, but claimed he wasn't drunk. The group was 4 people, and he didn't call until about 30 minutes later. He gave me the silent treatment the next day because I ignored his calls.
Okay, so 4 people isn't even like a big enough group to justify, oh, we didn't, it's not even like, even Home Alone had to fabricate a larger group to make it plausible. Like,
Yeah, that is the only update I see from the OP. Like, no, and he waited 30 minutes to tell you that he left?
no, no. Why is she not referring to him as ex-boyfriend?
Honest to God. Also, I just wanna this is some advice to younger Nikki and probably Nicole. If somebody calls you 40 times in a row just because you're not answering your phone, that is a red flag, baby girl. Don't. You need to
Right.
ditch that guy. Like 40 times in a row is not, oh, he loves me so much. He can't stand to not talk to me. That is
A control
controlling
issue.
trash behavior. Yeah, that is trash, anger. He is trying to prove to you that he can get you to answer the phone, and
Mhm.
you need to run the other way. That's beyond a red flag. That is a harassment issue.
Yes.
And it's not okay.
No, I mean, the fact that he left you there, and then is mad that
And you
you are not answering his calls. That is manipulation. That is not caring if you're safe. I mean, that's just all of it is just super terrible.
yeah. Yeah, I can't get like 4 people. 4 people is not like a group really. Like
Right.
so
No.
there were at the most 6 of them.
Right. And the fact that, if she's a six, that means that 5 people, let's say 4 to 5 people, should have been looking out for her. Or even if she's including herself and her boyfriend in that group of 4, right? That's at least 2 people. That's 2 to 4 people that should be like, where's your girlfriend?
Yeah. 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 So not only does he suck, like those people you're with suck too. Like, and
Those are not your friends.
I, yeah, because I have never been so trash that I have not taken care of my girlfriends too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And
unthinkable.
well, and like the way that it's so easy to it's not safe for anybody to be alone in that area. Obviously people were getting their cars towed. She said that she didn't feel safe because even if it was a fine area, she said it wasn't the safest, so her perception
Mhm.
was she didn't feel safe, right? So or she didn't, or they didn't get pronouns, so they didn't feel safe. And therefore they were already in a precarious situation. Their friends and their boyfriend left, and that's the end of the story. Like, these aren't people that you need in your corner. When you are out drinking, you have to make sure that everybody is safe that you went out with, because it's too easy for something really bad to happen.
Right.
And that really bad thing could be this guy in this story. 40 plus calls is insane. Like, that is, I can't even
Psycho.
imagine. Yeah, it is not normal behavior. I can't even listen. I can cop to some pretty unhinged behavior in my early 20s. I
Yeah,
don't think
your
I've
your
ever done
frontal
that.
cortex isn't fully developed, but you still
Yeah.
know right from wrong. And leaving someone that you care about in
Yeah.
an unsafe environment,
No,
even
I
just
had
even
never
if they
done
were safe, I
that.
don't care, right? Like
Mhm.
you wouldn't even like leave your house like without telling the
Yeah.
person that you care about in that house that you're leaving.
Well, and especially in with today's technology, like, you can definitely send a text.
Yeah,
And
right,
if you're that, like, drunk, you can send a voice memo. Like,
right.
there's so many you can send a Snapchat. There's so many communication options. Like, there's no excuse to just leave somebody and not let them know for 30 minutes.
Right. And also it said that she had to walk to a gas station to call an Uber, which makes me believe that, like, did her phone die?
Or
Did
like
he have the
clearly,
phone?
well, and the story said that her partner was being belligerent to the clerk inside too. So that's
Yeah.
another red flag. If your partner is rude to people that didn't do anything to them,
Yes.
red flag.
Yes. Right. I think just if your partner is mean when they're drunk, that itself is a red flag.
Yeah, you need to ditch them or they can't drink. Like that's it. Like some
Right.
people can drink and some people cannot, and that's the end
Right.
of that story. Like,
And like, yeah, I'm sure that there's outliers out there of people, who are genuinely like nice people and they just happen to be mean drunks, whatever. But I think in
mhm,
my experience, like, alcohol just lowers your inhibitions, right? So
mhm.
often if hurtful things are coming um, out of that behavior when people are drunk, then maybe, when people show you their true colors, let's believe
Believe
them.
them. Yeah. I've found that it enhances certain traits in people. That's what I
Hmm.
think about. Yeah. It
What does it
doesn't
say about me that
magic up.
mine just makes me tired? So what does that say about me?
I mean, I think it says that you have certain diagnosed mental conditions.
I mean, there is like, what is it? There's an enzyme that a lot of Asian people are missing that helps us
Yeah.
like break down alcohol. So it's probably it. But
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a
it,
genetic predisposition.
yeah. But I was gonna say maybe it just enhances my obvious love for sleeping.
You're just a sleepy girl. I'm a sleepy girl. No.
Sleepy girl.
So our final ruling here is not the asshole, but your boyfriend and your friend group are the assholes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very sorry
Move
for
on.
you. Move on as quickly as you can. You sound like you're probably still youthful. And
Mhm.
even if you're not, even if you're like 75 years old, there's still time to
Yeah,
discharge
Nicole and I didn't meet
terrible people from your
until
life.
we were what, late 20s?
Yeah,
Mid 20s?
yeah, late 20s.
God, we're
Late
old.
20s, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not. It's been like 10 years. So like late middle
Mid
20s. Late middle 20s.
mid late. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mind your biz, everyone.
Yeah. Don't try. Girl math.
I mean, everybody knows 2020 through 2022 doesn't really count. Like, we
I know.
didn't really
It
get
doesn't.
those years, so we are demanding a refund.
Oh my God. I would absolutely love not only like a refund on those years, but a refund on those pounds. I want to take those back.
I would like a refund on that stress.
Oh my God. Ugh. That's an entire episode. The pandemic
Yeah,
era.
it is. Because no thanks. I think the thing is we had like such very different experiences that were both so stressful in such different ways.
Yes. And I also feel like it somehow wasn't as stressful for people around us as it was for
Wild,
us. That is
but
wild.
accurate to
That is wild.
our lived experience.
Anyway,
Okay, friend.
so
This was a
that
great
wraps
first
up
episode.
our this is an amazing first episode. Thank you everyone so much for joining us on our first episode. We really hope that you come back and join us for more. I think really the message that we want to send is that we're just two adult humans who are just trying to like make it through this life. And we're doing the best we can, and we hope that you find something that you can relate to and that you come back and join us on this shared journey that we have.
Yeah, thanks so much, everybody. We're excited to be doing this. So thanks for tuning in to Hate That For You. See, when you say it
Yeah.
sarcastically, it's not as weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Hate that for no, I can't. I still can't. I can only
You
do
can't, you
it
gotta just
organically.
organically. Yeah.
Hate that for you. Yeah. Hate that for you.
Okay, so you just saw somebody who smashed a cart into your car and then immediately stubbed their toe. What do you say to her? Oh, hate that for you. You see how good that felt?
Wait, am I supposed to like that person or dislike the
No,
person?
of
And then I'm
course not.
like,
You don't they smashed their cart into your car and scratched it. And then
oh,
immediately
okay.
that cart ran over their toe on the bounce back.
Hmm. Oh,
So now you're
oh,
oh,
I hate that for you. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
See, it's good.
it is good.
All right, I love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.